Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Before we jump in the repair on this van, I'd figure I would give you an overview of what's going on first. What I think it is, before I even touch it or look into it, just based off my research, what I think it is. And if it's not what I think it is, I'll discuss my plan, but I actually found another hint that's leading towards what I think it is. But yeah, like I said, I'll kind of get everything started here and then we'll jump into what I'm talking about. So the customer complaint on this guy, it's a 2009 Dodge Caravan, and they had, after doing some research, it seems like quite a common issue with this car. So they were having all the lights, like the Christmas tree lights going on the dash, and then they say no bus on the dash. One main indicator which I saw, which is common across all issues, I guess, is the wipers was going off, or the wipers was continuous. It wasn't stopping no matter what you did with the switch. The windows, some of the windows were working, some of the windows weren't working, signals weren't working. So based off of my research, what it seems like is there's an issue with the communication of the bus line, and all those modules that's giving all those symptoms I just described are all part of the bus line. So if you either have a short in the line, a broken line, information can't get between the modules, or if you have a bum module, same thing, it's drawing a short, and then everything just stops at that module and information can't continue on to all the modules. So again, you know, I'm just pretty much repeating what I learned online, but obviously this will be, you know, I wanted to get this video out there. It seems like, especially on these things, like the more information out there, the better. So pretty much what I'm trying to say is I'm not an expert on electronics and bus and all this stuff. This is just stuff that I've read online, but you know, I'm trying to learn and get better and share it with you guys. So like I said, based off the research that I've done, it seems like if there's an issue with the bus network, all the modules just go crazy, like depending how far up or far down the issue is. So for this specific one, based on the research I've done, it seems super common that there's actually a cable that goes between the driver door there. And because the door, obviously that's the door that opens and closes the most, there's actually a bus line in there that breaks completely. So based off all the symptoms they described to me, the research I've done, and then another hint that I just found, I was going to show you guys all the wipers going crazy and all the issues, but I rolled down the window because I left the key in the van and I don't want to lock the keys in the van. So I always roll down the window when I work on cars, and I rolled down the window, all the issues went away, which is crazy. So what's that tell me? It's either that short in the line or there's some sort of wiring issue going up to I was also searching, there's actually window modules or door modules in each one of the doors. And I was watching a video online where a guy unplugged, I think his was the passenger door that was giving him issues. So the fact that I roll down the window, now the window switch doesn't work, I'll show you that, and then all the issues went away. That tells me it's either that short in that line or there's something in the door panel that's the issue. So that's what I'm thinking it is. Again, with that hint, I'm pretty confident it's that. And what I was going to do if it wasn't that was what I said earlier, is I was going to have the issue going. And again, hopefully, I don't think I can replicate it for you guys, but we're still going to scan it for codes. So I was going to have the issue, like the wipers was the main thing going. And then I was going to scan for codes, and whichever module was giving me a no-com code, I'm going to unplug all those modules one by one until the issue went away. But like I said, with that hint, I think it's in the door. So first thing we're going to do is just scan I'm just curious what codes come up, and I'm sure you guys are too. And then we're going to take, there's just a little rubber grommet where that wiring harness goes through the door. We're going to take that off and check for that shorted line, broken wire. And if not, then we're going to take the door panel off and see what's going on in there. Okay, so I'm just hooking up my Autel scanner here. And yeah, so like I said, the issue went away. Like literally when I pulled this thing in here, the wipers were going off like crazy. All the lights were on the dash. The signals weren't working. They're working now. Like everything's communicating. And then I mentioned earlier that the window wasn't working, but now it's working. And the only thing that changed, like I said, all the issues were happening. And then I just rolled down the window because I didn't want to lock the keys in the van. And then the issue stopped happening. And now the window's working. So let's scan and see what we have for codes first. Dodge van, or Dodge. Loading.
A few moments later.
Let's see if it wants to read the VIN. Okay, read the VIN, so that's good. 2009, yep, good. So let's do a full scan here. Bet you we're gonna get a lot of codes. Or none at all. How funny would that be? Okay. Yeah, so there's a cluster, central gateway, radio, yep, that's what I expected. HVAC, yep. TPMS, no. Door module, right 5, door module. Yeah, so that's perfect. So that's the 5 modules that's connected on that bus line that's going crazy. And then when it goes crazy, all the modules spit up codes. So what I'm thinking, we have our door module front left, not that one. Door module front left. Read codes. Yeah, right there. Lost communication with cluster, lost communication with IPM integrated power module. So yeah, just expect to see a bunch of lost comm codes. Lost communication, same codes with the radio. Let's do this central gateway. Lost communication with cluster, CAN interior bus, lost comm with HVAC, lost comm with front left door. So that must be the series, or I guess the information the modules get to communicate between each other. So anyway, it's a bus issue here. We're having lost comm. So let's check our front driver door, like I said. First thing I'm gonna check is this rubber harness here. I'm just gonna get a trim clip and peel that up and see if we see any broken cables in this harness. That is my first guess. I'm hoping that's the case. If not, we're gonna take off the door panel and see what's going on under there. Okay, so we have our problem going on and off here. I think it's because we're messing with the door harness there. I don't see any broken wires yet. Oh yeah, look at that. Kind of just messing with it. Yeah, it's flicking on and off, so it's something in that harness. Or I think I might take the door panel off, get better access. I would like to see what's up, like, I think it's when I'm shaking that harness. Let's see here. Okay, so it's doing it. Not. It's going back and forth. Maybe it's not when I'm shaking the harness. Yeah, maybe not actually. Seems to be going sporadically on and off. Let's try our window here. Yeah, see, the window's not working right now. All right, I'm gonna take that panel off and unplug that harness and see if it does it here. Okay, so I'm just poking around, working on getting the door panel off here. I still think it's something with our plug here, because I'll show you, like I can, let's see if I place it just right here. Yeah, see, that comes on. Let's see if I can, yeah, see how it just went off there? I'm kind of wiggling the harness in the door. Went on. It just went off. Like, I think it's in that harness. Let's see if it's going on and off as quick. Yeah, see, it's off. Off. I'll play with the harness right now. Yeah, so it's there. Let's see if I can get it. See how it just went off quickly there? Let's see if I can get it. Yeah, off again. I'm pretty sure I just keep on playing like with this bottom. Apparently there's 2 plugs that go through there. So yeah, even it's going now. Playing with it, the dash light went off. So I still think it's at this harness. I'm gonna put in a little bit more effort here to get this thing unplugged and peel it back. And then let's fully take a look at it before we rule this not the issue. Bingo was his name. Oh man, I must say, I enjoy finding stuff like this. It's quite satisfying when you dig into something and find something so specific, but I can't take full credit. This is a pretty documented issue on the internet, but it's still nice I was able to replicate it. So yeah, there is our broken wire. And you know it's a CAN wire because it's wrapped. Usually the CAN wire is a high speed, low speed, I think, or 2 low speed, but I know the 2 CAN wires are wrapped together. So you have that white gray wire that's wrapped around the white orange wire. And then also I know it changed something because I have this unplugged. And before I was kind of worried because the dash lights were on, but now our signals work. Again, we have those lights on, so that's, you know, whatever communication goes through the CAN system and then back to the instrument cluster, I guess. Yeah, so the instrument cluster must be communicating whatever information between the door. Now it's not happy with that. And then also our wipers aren't going off and they actually work. So that's how I know we're on to somewhere. So I'm going to repair that wire the best I can. It's kind of close to the plug, which I don't like. I'll see if I can precisely repair it. And then, yeah, she's fixed. So step 1 of the repair, I de-pinned that pin there. So to do that, there's just this little red retainer thing. So I took that out, and then to de-pin these guys, I just use a pick, and yeah, you just pull down that tab there, and then the pin slides right out. So I de-pinned that, and then I just have a bit of a 16 gauge wire here, wrapped it around, made lots of contact with the wire, soldered it nice and good, and then I put some heat shrink on there, so I'm pretty happy with that. And I'm going to snip my little jumper wire here the appropriate length, solder into the harness, and then pin this guy back in, and that should be good. So I have the pin plugged back in there and just kind of massage that little bit of extra length of wire back into the door. So let's put our retainer on, plug it in, put this back together, clear some codes, and see if it's fixed. Fingers crossed. Getting closer. We still have all those lights on the dash. Windows not working now. And then I just have 2 codes in both of these modules. So in both of these modules, it's lost communication with right front door module. So I'm going to double check my wiring and double check my pins, see if there's something that I missed there. Well, I bet you plugging it into the wrong pin would do it. That's hilarious. It should be that top left pin. Which one did I plug it into? Where's my little fix? I plugged it into that bottom right. That's so funny. Okay, well, let's switch our pins here and see if it does the trick. All right, I'm still getting no communication codes. My window's not working at all now. So what I am thinking, either this wire, this is the other CAN bus wire that's starting to pull out. So I must have pulled out when I was de-pinning it, or it's very possible, which I'm kind of more leaning towards, is that I use a little bit thicker wire because that's all I had, and then the solder as well. It's possible that's too thick for current to go through, I think, if that makes sense. I don't know anything about signals traveling across wires, but clearly it's not working with my little repair here. So what I'm going to do is go to the junkyard and get the proper, I'll find one that's not broken, and then I'll get the proper harness so we can fix this properly. Yeah, so there's your answer right there. My little solder job just broke off. So don't do backyard repairs, folks. Just replace the harness. Okay, so we're at the junkyard getting our harness here. I found a 2008 Chrysler Town & Country. That's perfect because I was looking at the other doors and I realized I have this same switch. So I actually need a harness that has that switch. So first I'm going to pull back our harness there and make sure it doesn't have the same damage that our van had. So I'm going to pull back this harness and make sure we don't have that issue. And if so, I'm going to peel this door panel off, get the harness. And then I do like working on common American vehicles. I always say to people, if you want to get into fixing or flipping cars, to start with common American or Japanese vehicles, because for this generation of van we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 just in my plane of sight in this one row. So I literally just walked down this row until I found this one which had the door switch, which is great. So let's peel back that harness and see if we have the same damage. Hopefully not, fingers crossed. Just based on looking at it, I don't see a damaged wire. And to me, this looks like this may have been replaced just based on the condition of that plastic. I could be wrong though, but This looks pretty good to me, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this door panel off because it'll make it easier to get that off. Okay, so I'm a little confused here because I took this switch and it didn't have the metal prong plug-in in the back. So I did some research on Rock Auto, and apparently the metal prongs have the one touch, the auto switch, even though this one feels like it does. So I checked all the other vans and I don't have the same configuration, which is unfortunate. So I think this wiring harness is going to work. I hope so. I think I might grab that switch just in case. But I think it should work. I might check the previous videos and look at that plug. As long as this plug is the same. Because I'm guessing, yeah, so it takes a signal, sends it, this is the door module that I was talking about earlier, and then the door module processes the signal, sends it back to the motor. All the plugs look the same, so I think it's gonna work. I don't know what other choice I have, so I'm just gonna roll with it. So I have the harness out here. I inspected all the cables. They all look good. There's just that electrical tape. I don't know if that's from the factory, but I pulled that back to make sure there's no sketchy solder repairs like I did earlier. And there wasn't, so that looks good. And then I'm gonna bring this switch, although it's broken, it'll be cheap enough, or I'm gonna bring it, and then I have the module. So I'm gonna, when I get back to the customer's place, I'm gonna do a combination of harness, hopefully just harness, and everything works as is. If not, I might do harness, module, and if it's still not happy, I might do harness, module, switch. So let's get to the customer's place and see what happens here. Good? You can talk, it's when I edit it. Okay guys, a bit has happened since we last talked at the junkyard, so I figured I would catch you up before we go into the wire or the harness repair here. So last we talked at the junkyard, I took that harness, that module, the window switch, and then I actually went, when I was recording earlier, the customer brought the vehicle to our shop. Our shop is 30 minutes away from our city here, and they live in the same city as me, so instead of having them bring the car out to the shop, instead of having them bring the car out to the shop, I just went to the garage because it would have been quick enough if the harness was plug and play. So anyway, I didn't record at the customer's house because the customer was an elderly gentleman and he's hanging out with me in the garage the whole time, so I didn't want to make things uncomfortable by recording. So I'll just catch you up on what we did in the garage, and then I'll show you how I'm going to finally fix it here. So I plugged in the wiring harness I got from the junkyard. I just plugged it in just to see if it'd work with the module and the window, and absolutely nothing worked. So then I unplugged it and I was checking our plugs here, and yeah, there must be a difference between, the only difference I could see was, I think that Chrysler had a little like a map light or something. I don't see a plug for this one, but the main thing was that window. So of course the wiring harness is so specific because it had that window switch. I plugged it in, like the plug was the same, but again, there's like no communication with the bus. And then I unplugged it and I looked at the wires, and this one had like, I think the green one had like 4 or 5 more wires than the one I had at the junkyard, and the gray one had like 1 or 2 more wires. Like they didn't line up at all, so it wasn't working. So just for fun, I tried junkyard harness. I tried putting in the junkyard module and door switch. Didn't do anything, still no communication. So finally, after scratching our heads for a few minutes, we both had the same idea, which was to de-pin the junkyard connector. So that's what I did. Where is it? The 2 CAN bus is that white and orange stripe and the white and gray stripe. So I de-pinned that, how I showed you guys earlier. And then I followed that up. So I de-pinned the good, because if you remember, our damage was right here at the pins on both of these wires. So these connections were good from the junkyard harness. So all I did was take those 2. I followed the junkyard harness up, snipped, did the same thing on our old harness, de-pinned, snipped. So then all I'm going to do is just jump the junkyard pins essentially into our harness. I just kind of loosely have stuff tied together here. I tested it to make sure it worked, and it did. So I'm going to show you in a sec how I'm going to make this nice and clean and fixed, and then we'll never have to think about it again. And I purposely snipped up here because this harness just sits stagnant in the door versus the joint that moves back and forth there. I didn't want to have it like cut right here because then that's just going to move back and forth and break again. So I cut all the way up in the harness, so it's in the door, it's good. I'll show you the repair, and then we will install this harness tomorrow, and then I'll make sure to get some footage showing everything working. What are you laughing at? Okay, so what I'm doing here is I got these electrical interconnect heat shrink tubing. So this isn't your regular heat shrink, and this isn't your regular butt connector. It combines the two. So what it does, it has little tabs of glue to seal off, and then that's a solder connection. So when I soldered it before, you know, I think the usual is to tie the wires together and just put a bunch of solder into it. But the problem was it's like really brittle. So as soon as I moved the harness, it broke off. So I don't want that issue to happen again. So I got this stuff. This is the exact stuff that I need to like pretty much permanently join these wires. So what I'm doing is I'm just tying the wires together. And then I'm sliding this tubing over. So I want that solder over the connection there. The thing I just tied together. So just kind of get that without pulling the wires apart. Starting to pull the wires apart, just make sure it's narrow enough so it can get it over the solder. Maybe. Should work. Am I happy with that? I think so. Yeah, I'm gonna redo it. So I'm trying to tie the wires together tightly, but I also need it small enough so my connector slides over, just without pulling them apart. Kind of like that. That's good. So now we have a fancy dancy heat gun. Our heat gun. So it's gonna melt, shrink down that tubing, and then it should melt that solder. It's hot enough. Maybe. Maybe not. Oh, there you go.
Melting.
Oh shoot. Two without melting our table. So yeah, it's gonna melt that solder. You can see it kind of just start working its way through the wire there. Yeah, you see the solder just flowing into the wire. So this is a permanent connection that will never come apart now. I mean, I'm sure it would if you pulled on it hard enough, but you get the point. Those two wires are twisted together, melted together with solder, sealed at that end. I'm confident to put that back in the car and call that permanent. So I'm gonna rinse and repeat and connect this to that. And then my little jumper wire here, do the same thing here, connect that to that, and that's a repaired harness. What you laughing at? My fat fingers. It starts to melt out like that. See how it fills up? That's pretty cool. That one was better than the other one, actually.
Well, I played football for a few years, and it was only the last year that anyone was able to record anything in a video or a movie, and I learned a lot just watching. You know, like, why did I miss that block? Well, my foot slipped there.
Yeah,
you know,
just so you could see it, play back. Okay, guys, so we are here at the car, and just to show the repair there, like I said, I just repaired. We soldered those wires together, and kind of how I seen they're stagnant. So these are just hanging out now in the door panel. And when the door goes back and forth, those wires aren't going to bend at all. So that's good. And then just to show all the dash functions working. So yeah, all of our lights go off. Signals work. Even the airbag went off. And the wipers work. So that is a fixed van. So I'm going to put this back together and then we'll catch you in the outro.
Okay.
All right, guys. I have a bit of an update on our project here as it's Saturday morning and I'm doing my usual video editing and release. In the video, last we left off, it was working, the repair. And then I did get a call from the customer the next day. So I guess I'll give you a little bit of a backstory first. So I put in the harness and it's working again. Everything was working. And then as I put the door panel on, I went to check again and all the issues were coming back. So obviously I was pretty worried, concerned, upset. So I checked the connection. I kind of played around with the harness a little bit to see if it'd go away. It did not. So then I plugged in my code reader, and as soon as it's going through the modules, it's the same 4 or 5 modules. As soon as it went in that left driver door module, everything went away. So I'm like, okay, all the codes were stored in the module. I haven't cleared it yet. So I cleared all the codes, and then I rescanned. No codes were coming back, and everything was working fine. Awesome. So I considered that fixed. And then I got a call from the customer, and apparently the next day, all the issues started coming back. So I know you guys appreciate, I guess in YouTube land, like I could have released this video saying that it was fixed, but I figured I'd give you an update and let you know. I still want to get my video out for this Saturday, but I figured I'd give you an update and let you know that it's not fully fixed yet. I'm not too sure where to go. I'm going to do some research and see. Like I had the module unplugged. I don't think I have to reprogram it. Like I'm going to see if those door modules even need to be reprogrammed if you put them in. I'm thinking it's really hard to find that replacement harness. I called the dealer. There's no harnesses available. It's actually been discontinued. So I searched up the part number online, like all the websites that provide OEM parts. It's discontinued. I went to the one junkyard. I checked all the cars at that junkyard. Couldn't find the exact harness. So I'm going to go to another junkyard in my town. Hopefully I find the harness. If not, I was thinking I might, instead of, because like I'm not too sure what's like why the problem's coming back. Like the only thing I can think of is like when I put the wires in, they're wrapped around each other, and I searched it up and it is for shielding of the signal for the CAN bus system. So maybe like the wires aren't wrapped like enough that, yeah, the computer doesn't like it. I would imagine, like, you know, with those electronics, it's a pretty sensitive signal. Or the other thing I can think of is like maybe since we put all that solder in there, it adds a little bit of, it actually does act like a resistor, probably that solder, especially because there's 2 in a line. Like now I say it out loud, I think that's probably the issue, is the computer doesn't like that little bit of extra resistance in like from that solder repair. So like I said, I'm going to try to find, hopefully I can get a replacement harness at the other junkyard I go to. If not, my only solution before I don't know, give up on it, I guess, is find another harness. And I'm going to D-pin, like I showed you guys, I'm going to D-pin at the door plug. And then I'm going to go all the way through the harness and D-pin the wires at the plug into the module. Then I'm going to take the full wire without cutting it and soldering it, and then put that full wire in our harness, and hopefully that fixes it. If not, I'm out of ideas, but I'd love to hear you guys' ideas down below. So yeah, let me know if you've dealt with this issue, if you're a mechanic with experience with electronics. I might even send this video to Eric O at South Main Auto or something, or Watch West Work, or what is it, Pine Hollow Diagnostics, like those guys that are pretty experienced with electrical diagnostics, because there's just something, I feel like there's something small I'm missing here. The only thing I can think of is that solder. So like I said, let me know down below if you guys have experience with this. Other than that, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and have a good day.